You may remember from our last lesson that we found out that if we are dividing powers, we end up subtracting the exponents. Well, if I'm going to subtract the exponents, that gives a possibility for my exponents to either be 0 or negative. If I have a to the m over a to the n is equal to a to the m minus n, if m equals n, then my exponent will be 0. If m is less than n, then my exponent will be negative. Up to this point, we haven't really discussed what it means to have a 0 or a negative exponent. That's what we will be discussing in this video. Let's start with an exponent of 0, x to the 0th power. Well, let's go back to a problem that could result in an answer of x to the 0th power. That could be if I had x to the 3rd power over x to the 3rd power. My rule for dividing exponents says I take the top exponent, subtract the bottom exponent, and then I would get x to the power of 3 minus 3, which is 0. But x to the 3rd power over x to the 3rd power actually has an obvious answer. Because this is a fraction and the top and bottom are the same, I know it must be 1. So x to the 0th power must be 1. This is the rule. A to the 0th power equals 1. This rule is special because no matter what a is, as long as it is not 0, a to the 0th power is 1. Or in other words, anything to the 0th power is 1. Here we have x to the negative 2nd power. Let's explore a problem that might lead to that as an answer. If I have x to the 3rd power all over x to the 5th power, that would be x to the 3 minus 5 or x to the negative 2. Let's see what that is. That's going to be x times x times x all over x times x times x times x times x. Now we can start canceling. This x and this x become 1. This x and this x become 1. This x and this x become 1. And I end up with 1 times 1 times 1 on the top, which is simply 1, over x squared. So we know that x to the negative 2 power is equal to 1 over x to the 2nd power. An observant student may notice that I've taken this x to the negative 2 and put it on the bottom of a fraction and simply removed the negative in my exponent. That is the general rule that you can use for any negative exponent. Or a to the negative n is the same thing as 1 over a to the n, where my n is no longer negative. Let's evaluate some examples. X to the 0th power. Well, we learned that anything to the 0th power is 1. So 6 to the 0th power is going to be 1. I didn't even need to worry about what the base is. As long as it's not 0, anything to the 0th power is 1. Let's do 5 to the negative 2nd power. My rule says I'm going to put 1 over and then put this power in the denominator, only I will remove the negative from the exponent. So that becomes 5 to the second power. If I wish, I can continue to evaluate. And 5 to the second power is 5 times 5, which is 25. 5 to the negative second power is 1 over 25. You may notice that 5 to the second power is 25. And these two answers are reciprocals of each other.